Well, I think China's a real interesting country, I have to say. The thing to appreciate about China is just that there's a lot of really smart, really hardworking people there, and they're going to do a lot of great things. This is sort of independent of Chinese government policy. They're just going to do a lot of interesting things. The thing that will feel pretty strange is that the Chinese economy is going to be probably at least twice as big as the U.S. economy. Maybe 3 times, but at least twice. So that assumes a GDP per capita still less than the U.S. But since they have about 4 or 5 times the population, then it would only require getting to a GDP per capita of half the United States for their economy to be twice the size of ours. And as I'm sure people in this room know, the foundation of war is economics. And so if you have half the resources of the counterparty, then you better be real innovative. If you're not innovative, you're going to lose. So yeah, with respect to China, China's economy is going to be 2 to 3 times the size of the U.S. economy, at least double. So therefore, in order for the U.S. to be competitive on a military level, the innovation has to overcome a gigantic gap in economic output. Okay. So in the absence of radical innovation, the U.S. will be militarily second. Okay. Basic math. Yeah, probably in 10 years, more than a half of new vehicle production is electric in the United States. And China's probably going to be ahead of that because China's been super pro-EV. I don't think a lot of people know this, but China's environmental policies are way ahead of the U.S. Like their mandate for renewable energy far exceeds the U.S. I think sometimes people are under the impression that China is either dragging their feet or somehow behind the U.S. in terms of sustainable energy promotion, but they're by far the most aggressive on Earth. It's crazy. In fact, a coalition of Chinese car manufacturers just wrote the Chinese government to beg for them to slow down the mandate because it's like too much. They need to make 8% electric vehicles, I think, like next year or in 2 years or something. They can't physically do it. So China's by far the most aggressive on electric vehicles and solar. But that's a common misperception that they're not. There's one Google search away to figure this out, by the way. It's really pretty easy. So, and in 10 years, man, I think, yeah. So half of all production, I think, will be EV. I think almost all cars produced will be autonomous in 10 years. Almost all. It will be rare to find one that is not in 10 years. That's going to be a huge transformation. So I actually just came back from China yesterday. In fact, I was there all week until yesterday evening. And the thing that really surprised me was how positive the reception was for Tesla. Going in there, I went in with some trepidation, thinking that there'd be concern about an American car company exporting cars to China, and that maybe there would be somewhere between indifferent to slightly hostile. But actually, I didn't encounter that at all. In fact, they were incredibly friendly and supportive, including modifying some of their programs which offer electric vehicle incentives to include imported electric cars. And they actually made that announcement. For example, Shanghai has this license plate fee that's paid normally for a gasoline car. And on the day that I arrived there, they changed it to include imported electric vehicles as having no license plate fee. So I was just really amazed, and at the positive reception. And among the public, Tesla is viewed super positively. But by far the most positive reception of any place I've been. And yeah, we expect probably we'll end up exporting half or maybe a little more than half of the cars we manufacture in California to overseas, and of that number, probably half will go to China alone.
The Tesla Autopilot does work reasonably well in China. It does not work quite as well in China as it does in the US, because still most of our engineering is in the US, and so that tends to be the local loop of optimization. So Autopilot tends to work the best in California because that's where the engineers are, and then once it works in California, then we then extend it to the rest of the world. But we are building up our engineering team in China, and so if you're interested in working at Tesla China as an engineer, we would love to have you work there. That would be great. I really want to emphasize a lot that we are going to be doing original engineering in China. So it's not just converting sort of stuff built in America to work in China. We will be doing original design and engineering in China. So please do consider Tesla China if you're thinking about working somewhere. We are looking for the very best talent in China to join Tesla China. And I do want to emphasize there's no limit on the potential. One day somebody could join as a junior engineer here at Tesla Shanghai Giga, and ultimately maybe have my job one day. So we're looking for the very best people to join and help us build a sustainable future for the world.
Yeah, I think it's true that in dense cities, rooftop solar is not going to solve the energy need. But what you can do is have ground mount solar power, let's say near Hong Kong, tapping into the existing power lines that are coming in, so you can supply Hong Kong with solar power. We just need to be coming from a land area that's not too far away. And I mean, it's worth noting, certainly, China has actually an enormous land area, much of which is hardly occupied at all. Given that the Chinese population is so concentrated along the coast, once you go inland, the population in some cases is remarkably tiny. So you could easily power all of China with solar.
All of China with solar?
Easily, yeah. Yeah, no, easy.
The world's most populous country?
Yep, definitely.
Wow.
Yeah.